The topic of sleep is very similar to the topic of water. It's like everybody knows water is very important. Everybody should be drinking lots of water every day, but people still don't do it. Or you don't really understand the benefits of it until you're actually doing it and seeing the results. So that's how I feel about sleep. Like in high school, I used to sleep probably like 5-6 hours a night on school nights. Stay up till like 2 a.m., wake up at 6 on the worst nights. But when I got to college, I started to understand, and I actually put it into practice very quickly because I wanted to actually excel in college. I would sleep at least 7 hours a night, and I would try my best to be comfortable and make sure I slept through the night. Now I'm out of high school, out of college, and still I'm trying very hard consistently every night to make sure I get the best sleep possible, because I understand that if I don't get the best sleep possible, I'm not going to be like at my best mentally, emotionally, physically. And when I say good sleep, I mean you go to sleep, you sleep deeply for 7 to 9 hours straight without waking up. That's good sleep. So if you wake up in the middle of the night to pee, or if you wake up in the middle of the night because you're too warm or too cold, if you're asleep 8 hours but you're kind of like in that weird space where you're half asleep, half awake for some of it, that's not quality sleep. And you actually really need to look at your sleeping patterns, because your sleeping patterns, if they're not good, they're affecting your ability to just function at the highest possible level that you are capable of. I didn't really take high school that seriously, so sleeping like 6 hours a night, 5 hours a night, it didn't really matter to me. But when I got to college, like I said, I really understood if I get good sleep, I will do a lot better when it comes to my ability to function. And that was very true. I had a good sleep schedule and I slept pretty well like almost every night, and that helped me get a 4.0 my first year of college. Pretty much I'm saying all this because I want to encourage you guys to look at your sleeping patterns and think, maybe I should improve my sleep. And if you want to improve your sleep, let me give you guys my tips on how I have a good night's rest consistently and wake up feeling pretty refreshed. Now, the number one thing that I take very seriously is the temperature in the room when I'm sleeping. So when it's time for your body to sleep, your internal body temperature, it wants to actually decrease. When you're sleeping, your core temperature wants to be lower. So to help that, it's pretty good to have your room at a temperature of about 66 degrees at like the max. And that's definitely the max for me. Last night, I checked my thermometer when I woke up, and last night I had my room at about 63 degrees. And that's because I slept with my window open. It kind of sounds crazy, but so number one thing, if you want to get off on the right foot, and if you want to sleep throughout the night without waking up hot or too warm, make sure the room is cool before you go to sleep. And I personally have a thermometer that I just keep on my nightstand, and I can check to see before I go to sleep, is it cool enough in here, or do I need to turn on the AC, or do I need to open up some windows? So that's the first thing. Another thing that might help you, in addition to keeping the room cool, is taking a hot shower before bed. So if you take a really hot shower before bed, your body is hot and it'll actually give off heat. So even though you're taking a hot shower, your body will work to decrease the temperature of your core, and that pretty much just makes it so that your core temperature is lower as you're trying to sleep. And it also relaxes your body so that you fall asleep easier and faster. Another thing that I struggled with for a very long time, and I actually didn't even realize that it was a problem until maybe like a year ago when I was talking to my doctor, and she was like, how often do you wake up in the middle of the night to pee, or do you wake up in the middle of the night to pee? And I was like, yeah, actually I do at least once every night. And she was like, that's a problem. And I had been doing a little bit of research before this appointment, so I was like, yeah, I'm kind of trying not to drink water about an hour before bed. And her advice was 2 hours before bed. Don't drink any liquids 2 hours before bed. And the reason I started researching this is because I have like a tendency to sleepwalk if something wakes me up in the middle of the night. So if I wake up because I hear a loud noise that disturbs me, or if I wake up because I have to pee, or any other reason, then it'll be more likely for me to actually sleepwalk. And sleepwalking was kind of like disturbing my sleep for a little bit of time. So I started doing some research and realizing, oh, some people wake up in the middle of the night to pee, and that actually triggers sleepwalking, and that's what was happening for me. So these days I set an alarm at 8 o'clock, and I tell myself, actually 7:45, and I tell myself no water in 15 minutes. So 7:45 I get a notification or an alarm on my phone, and it's like, don't drink any more water after 8 p.m. My advice is, this is what I do. I make sure that I'm hydrated throughout the day, and then when I get that alarm at 7:45 p.m. I make sure I drink a bunch of water so I can remain hydrated for the next 10 hours, or hydrated enough for the next 10 hours, so that I'm not waking up out of my sleep because I have to pee because I drank water too close to going to sleep. But while I'm sleeping, I'm also not dehydrated, because waking up and being dehydrated, whether it's in the middle of the night or whether it's in the morning, is not a good feeling. I actually woke up dehydrated a couple mornings ago, and I was like, why do I feel like this? Like, I hadn't woken up feeling like crap in a very long time, and I realized I didn't drink enough water the night before or even the whole day before, so I woke up dehydrated. So I like leaned over and took a few gulps of my gallon of water and just kind of like laid there for maybe 15 minutes, and I felt a lot better. Like, water is underrated when it comes to, you know, how your body feels, how your mind feels, but that's besides the point. So that's another tip. Make sure you're not drinking water 2 hours before bed, but make sure you drink a glass of water 2 hours before bed. So that makes sense. Another thing that I started doing, most people are deficient in magnesium, and if you're deficient in it, you have many great benefits when you start taking it, and one of the great benefits is better sleep. So when I started taking magnesium, like, I would take it, and within 10-15 minutes I would feel myself like super drowsy and ready to go to sleep. That's because I was pretty deficient in magnesium. So these days I take magnesium. It just helps my body get into that sleeping mode. It fills the deficiencies, and it gets me really drowsy and ready for bed. And when I wake up, I'm actually feeling great because I slept well throughout the night as well. So another thing that I need for good sleep, and this is not for everybody, but this works very well for me, is I use a weighted blanket. So I'll have my regular blanket on top of me, and I'll actually put the weighted blanket on top of my regular blanket. And there's so many different reasons that it's good to use a weighted blanket, and it's good for different people for different reasons. But for me personally, the weighted blanket is like a comforting feeling. So, you know, as babies like to be swaddled and their arms are like all tight to their bodies and stuff. It's kind of like that same feeling where you just feel like a nice weight on your body, and it's very comforting, and you feel secure and like you're not vulnerable pretty much. And it's like a natural instinct that humans have. The weighted blanket keeps me pretty good in like some deep sleep. There have been nights where I woke up in the morning after sleeping under a weighted blanket and I didn't even remember falling asleep. That's how fast it knocked me out. I also realized that when I use a weighted blanket for sleep, I don't move around too much. I'm not tossing and turning. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm realizing that like my blankets are not even disturbed. Like, they're not all tossed around or anything. They're just like in pretty much the same position that they were in when I went to sleep. And that's how I know I slept well, I slept deep, and I didn't move around too much. And my last tip to have good sleep every night is just make sure things are quiet and dark. Like, think about how your natural mind wants to be, like the environment it wants to be in when it's ready for sleep. Like, just anytime I think about what I need as a human, I just think about like the older versions of humans where we didn't have all this technology and stuff. And I'm like, what did humans, like, what was our mindset when it was time for us to go to sleep? And I realized, okay, so when it was time for us to go to sleep, we knew this because it got dark, it was nighttime, it got cooler, the outside air got cooler, it got quieter. You know, all of these things happened, and it kind of like cued our bodies to be like, okay, yeah, it's time for sleep. So I like to think about things like that just to understand like what my body needs. Probably when it's like an hour before when I want to go to sleep, I'll turn off most of the lights and maybe just have like one light on, or just have these smaller lights. If I'm watching anything or if I have any music playing, I'll turn the music down. And like on my best my best nighttime routine nights, I won't even use my phone or my laptop for like the last hour before I'm about to go to sleep. But sometimes I might read on my Kindle, because my reading on my Kindle actually really does help me to get into that mindset of falling asleep. Like the Kindle screen isn't as harsh on your eyes. They actually built it for that, so that it's not harsh on your eyes. On like my best nights, no technology, like an hour before sleep, no screens. I have most of the lights turned off. I have everything low, like music or anything I'm watching low, and it just kind of like gets me in that mood to sleep. And once you start to do these things consistently every night, you'll build up a very good nighttime routine, and your body will just get used to you doing that same routine every night, and you'll get used to having a good night's rest every night. So right now, if you're realizing that you don't really have a good night's sleep consistently every night, start trying to do these different things and incorporate them into your routine, and just notice how much of a better mood you wake up in every morning, and realize how your energy levels are a lot higher throughout the day. And this is especially if you stay hydrated. I feel like sleep and hydration go hand in hand. Me personally, I buy one of these every other morning, and I drink half of it a day. So I'll drink it to about this. Bro, why am I tweaking? So you don't have to drink a lot of water, but me personally, I will drink half a gallon every day. So you don't have to go crazy and drink a whole gallon every day if like that's not what your body needs. My recommendation is just go to Google, type in how much water do I need a day, and if you don't feel like doing that, check out the link in the description. I'll even give you guys the link for that. You can figure out how much water you need every day. But I hope this video motivates you guys to get better with your sleeping routine and just have like overall better sleeping habits. But let me know any questions you guys have in the comments. I respond to every comment, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.